I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm,
We are about to witness the biggest fight in a generation. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. 2 pound-for-pound kings, 2 undisputed champions finally meeting in the ring. Yet the most shocking part of this story isn't who's fighting inside the ropes, but who's pulling the strings from the outside. That man is UFC President Dana White. And this isn't just a super fight. This is the public launch of his war to conquer the world of boxing. The very idea of Saul Canelo Alvarez fighting Terence Bud Crawford was long considered a fantasy. A pipe dream discussed by fans, but never taken seriously by insiders. Canelo is the face of the sport, a 4-division champion reigning as the undisputed king at 168 pounds. He is a destructive force of nature, a counterpuncher with concussive power in both hands. Crawford, on the other hand, is a master of a different art. An undefeated, undisputed champion in 2 weight classes, he is a technical wizard, a defensive ghost who dismantles opponents with surgical precision. But he fights at 147 pounds. The idea of him jumping up 3 full weight classes, a staggering 21 pounds, to challenge a monster like Canelo was deemed impossible, even reckless. Fights like this are precisely where boxing's system fails. They are killed by rival promoters, conflicting network deals, and the simple logic of weight divisions, but all of those old rules were just shattered. This impossible fight is happening, and its existence is the first sign that a dramatic and forceful shift in power is underway in the world of combat sports. And what happened next would reveal the true architect of this new era.
I've been a big fan of boxing since I was a kid. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for boxing. For this to be the first boxing match that I'm involved in promoting is an absolute honor. 2 of the greatest of all time and one of the biggest fights ever in the history of the sport. So very, very proud moment for me, and I've done a lot of things in my career.
The man who finally broke the stalemate wasn't a legendary boxing promoter like Bob Arum or Don King. It was Dana White, the fiery and outspoken president of the UFC, a man who has spent over 2 decades publicly trashing the very business model of boxing. For years, White has blasted the sport for its failures. He has called major boxing events disorganized, slow, and fundamentally boring. He famously criticized the undercards, where fans are often forced to sit through hours of uninspired matchups before the main event. In his world, the UFC world, every single fight on the card matters. The action is relentless. He built an empire on a simple, brutal promise. The best will always fight the best. There are no tune-up fights, no avoiding dangerous opponents. You either prove you're the baddest man on the planet, or you get out of the way. His involvement in Canelo versus Crawford isn't a friendly crossover. It's the strategic deployment of his winning formula onto enemy territory. He saw a broken system, a frustrated fan base, and a massive opportunity to seize control.
So you said for years famously, when you were building the UFC, you used boxing as like a negative blueprint. Whatever boxing
And positive.
Okay.
Things that they did were good, I would use, and things that I didn't like, I did away with.
What has the experience now in the UFC, what from there can you bring to boxing?
I like when the night moves fast. Like right now, when you watch a boxing event, they'll have one fight, then there's a podcast.
Right.
Then there's another fight and there's a podcast. And the night gets dragged out. I mean, it's bad enough for the people at home watching on TV. The people that are live, it has to be insane. I mean, I haven't been to a fight in years. The last fight that I went to was at MGM, and it was Tyson Fury and Wilder. It was the worst experience that I've ever had at any event.
And that was a great fight.
Yeah, great fight. And I've been to small shitty shows that were way better run than that one was. So
what was so bad?
The night, it just completely disorganized, not enough security, couldn't even get in. The people were sitting on my seats when I got to my seats, and there was nobody there to say, hey, this isn't your seat. just everything about the night was horrendous. The best to fight the best. The undercard, you should want to be there for the first fight of the night because that's going to be a fight that you know is going to be good and means something. You know, you have a 6-0 versus a 5-0 or a 10-0 versus a 12-0 all the way throughout the card. So you don't want to miss one fight during the night because they're all great. And then obviously the big payoff is the main event.
This takeover isn't being executed by one man alone. It's a full-scale invasion backed by a powerful new alliance that is poised to reshape combat sports forever. The operation is fueled by three forces. First, you have Dana White's promotional machine under the TKO Group, which brings the UFC's aggressive, fan-focused marketing and event production to the table. Second, you have the almost limitless financial power of Saudi Arabia's Riyadh season, spearheaded by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. This provides the capital to make fighters offers they simply cannot refuse, eliminating the squabbles over money that have torpedoed so many fights in the past. And third, you have the unprecedented global platform of Netflix. For the first time, a fight of this magnitude won't be hidden behind a costly pay-per-view wall. It will be streamed directly to over 300 million subscribers worldwide at no extra cost. White's vision is clear. Use this platform to launch a new boxing league that operates like the UFC. He wants to create a pipeline for new talent, similar to his Contender series, to build the next generation of stars from the ground up, ensuring a constant supply of must-see events. This isn't about promoting one super fight. It's about creating an entirely new ecosystem for boxing, one that he controls.
First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. You know, none of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see.
I feel like we're starting from scratch now.
In boxing, really?
Yes. There's a handful of guys right now that matter and that people care about. There has to be a pipeline of young up-and-coming guys. And when you think about the late 80s and early 90s, there were so many good fighters. Yeah. And again, I go back to Tuesday Night Fights. A lot of those guys ended up becoming pay-per-view stars of the 90s. And yeah, I believe we can do that again. And you get these young guys. There's always this talk that there's such huge pay discrepancy between boxing and MMA, which is total bullshit. You know, we have guys that would be considered journeymen in the UFC that make millions of dollars, right? The money's just spread out amongst the fighters better. And then you have the guys that really matter, like the Conor McGregors, the Ronda Rouseys. Even a woman came in and was the highest paid fighter at the time. You eat what you kill, you know, here in the UFC. So, you know, I think that this thing's gonna create a lot of opportunities for young up-and-coming guys that would be making a couple grand for a title fight, some obscure title fight. And with simpler weight classes, you'll actually know some of these champions now and know who they are.
To understand the sheer drama of what will unfold in the ring, we turn to Max Kellerman, one of the most respected minds in boxing, who has now joined forces with Dana White for this event. Kellerman breaks down the fight as a classic. He describes it as a battle between a genius and a wrecking ball. In one corner, you have Terence Crawford, who Kellerman argues has the advantage in nearly every technical category. He has the superior jab, the better footwork, a masterful defense, and a higher ring IQ. He is the surgeon, capable of adapting his game plan mid-fight and exploiting the smallest of openings. But in the other corner stands Canelo Alvarez, who possesses the great equalizers, monstrous, undeniable physical advantages. Kellerman gives Canelo the edge in raw size, physical strength, and earth-shattering punching power. On top of that, Canelo has a legendary chin, having walked through punches from some of the biggest hitters in the sport. Kellerman compares the dynamic to the legendary Marvin Hagler versus Roberto Duran fight, where a smaller, supremely skilled master moved up to challenge a bigger, stronger, relentless champion. It's a fight that poses an almost unsolvable puzzle for both men, making the outcome one of the most unpredictable in recent memory.
Who's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're gonna fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Call this fight a once-in-a-lifetime fight. When you have, a guy like Crawford who's undefeated and is willing to move up in weight and fight somebody like Canelo, this is what it's all about. I mean, two of the all-time best, right? Putting it all on the line.
The shockwaves from this event are already being felt, not just in the boxing world, but across the entire sports landscape. The financial numbers alone are staggering. Even weeks before fight night, Dana White confirmed that Canelo versus Crawford had already generated the third largest live gate in boxing history, surpassed only by the cultural phenomenons of Mayweather versus Pacquiao and Mayweather versus McGregor. The fighters' purses are rumored to be astronomical, with White hinting that a figure around $100 million for Canelo alone could be accurate. This kind of money changes everything, creating a powerful incentive for other top fighters to abandon their traditional promoters and join this new venture. But the biggest disruption is the delivery method. By streaming the fight on Netflix, White and his partners are gambling that massive global viewership is more valuable in the long run than short-term pay-per-view profits. Max Kellerman believes this move could make it the most-watched championship fight since the Ali vs. Spinks rematch in 1978, which was broadcast on free network television. They aren't just selling a fight, they are trying to capture a new global generation of fans, a move that could permanently kill the pay-per-view model as we know it.
Leading up to this fight, we've done tons of promotion. My first fight ever, I've been talking about boxing for a long time, is Canelo Crawford. I mean, one of the biggest fights ever. Literally is one of the biggest fights ever. It's the third biggest, gate in the history of boxing, and it's the biggest gate ever in a stadium. And we're the biggest event ever at Allegiant Stadium. We broke all their record. And you know whose record we broke? Ours, WWE. So WWE had number 1 and we just broke WWE's record. These two are gonna get paid.
Well, I am, because it's not on record. What's the base purse for Canelo?
Well, imagine what it would take to get Canelo to fight Crawford and have a guy move up weight classes when he's undefeated.
I've heard $100 million.
Probably.
No one in the U.S.
Nothing symbolizes the dawn of this new era more than the team assembled to call the action. This isn't your typical boxing broadcast. The play-by-play will be handled by John Anik, the lead voice of the UFC. His intense rapid-fire style is synonymous with mixed martial arts, and his presence is a clear signal of the UFC's influence. Alongside him will be Max Kellerman, the eloquent boxing purist, representing the sport's storied tradition and analytical depth. And completing the trio is Andre Ward, an undefeated Hall of Fame boxer and one of the most brilliant tactical minds the sport has ever seen. This team is a deliberate fusion of two separate worlds. It's a broadcast built to appeal to both the hardcore UFC fan base and the traditional boxing audience. It's a statement. The old walls that separated these combat sports are being torn down. This event is designed to feel like something entirely new, a hybrid that takes the best elements of both worlds to create a superior product. So as we approach this historic night, it's clear that much more is at stake than championship belts and undefeated records. The battle between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is now the backdrop for a much larger conflict: the fight for the soul of boxing itself. For years, the sport has been plagued by dysfunction, leaving fans yearning for the golden eras of the past. Now, a powerful and disruptive force has arrived, promising to fix it all with a proven, albeit ruthless formula. Dana White's venture is a high-stakes gamble. If he succeeds, he could usher in a new golden age for boxing, one filled with consistent super fights, new global stars, and unprecedented fan access. But if his model is rejected or if the event fails to deliver on its colossal hype, it could further fracture an already fragile sport. When that final bell rings, the world will celebrate the crowning of the true pound-for-pound king. But the real question is, will we also be witnessing the final chapter of boxing as we know it, and the successful conquest of an entire sport? So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.